It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for inviting us. I really enjoyed the music. Like Ernestos just told me, it's just like the construction industry. It's all harmony, and we work all very good together. So, we do a little introduction here. My name is Roef. I am from Holland. I'm Director Sales and Marketing of Construsoft. And I'm also heading or vice chairing Building Smart Benelux. I'm here with one of my colleagues, Eelco van Es. And everything I will explain to you, he will go more in depth in session A, a quarter to 2 approximately. I come from the Netherlands. Do you know where the Netherlands is? I assume, but we grew tulips. We live in windmills. We are very proud of orange. And I don't know if you know why, but our king, King Willem-Alexander, is called Van Oranje. And that means orange. So everything we do is orange, and now you know why. It's a very small country. And for you, if you don't know where it is, it's over there. And if we didn't have any protection from the sea, we would drown. At least almost half of the Netherlands will be under sea level. We are shortly 17 million people. Most of them are good educated. We produce 465 million chicken each year, 20 million pigs. And we protect citizens from the water. And of course, if you are that small, you need very good technology. And therefore, BIM was adopted very well in the Netherlands. So I told you I work with Construsoft. Actually, we are a consulting company in the BIM field. We sell some software, but we do very much consultancy as well. Last year we had a celebration of our 20th anniversary. You can see the darker blue areas, and that's where we have the offices. So we are in South America and in Europe, and the headquarters is in the Netherlands. And we started the journey 20 years ago, I told you already, with Tekla. And Tekla is a Finnish company, and we started with that in Holland, and we moved to Spain, and we started implementing Tekla structures there. And Tekla was bought by Trimble. And Trimble, I don't know if you know what Trimble is, they're the main sponsor, but I have a very short movie to start with. It's a $2.5 billion company. It's stock quoted in the US. It has over 6,000 employees. And they're coming from the field of GPS. They started pioneering in all kinds of markets. And the last 10 years, they are highly active in the building industry as well. So a short movie. There was sound, at least when I tried it. But it gives an overview. It says that we are living in a very rapidly changing world, and we need the good from the past to move to use into the future. Therefore, Trimble is trying to adopt what was good and bring that to the field, to the construction industry. This is the images you see are from the infrastructure, but we are highly active in the infrastructure, in the building industry, and you see all kinds of quotes, under budget, in time, and that's our goal. We want to help you do your job better. Collaboration. It's bad that we don't have any sound. continue then to the next slide. So like I said, Trimble, last year I received a nice lecture from Charlie Trimble, the original founder of the company, and he explained how he produced the first commercial used GPS. So one thing in Trimble is very important, and that's location. In every construction, we have location as the key differentiator. And location, that's very important in the construction industry. And at Trimble, we know all about it. And when we take that location into the design, build, operate continuum, there are many problems. As you see, when you see this, you see an MEP, an installation. And an installation is nowadays the most important part of a building, of a construction. It used to be inside of the building, and now we see nice installations with a facade, and we call that a building. But that's not the start. We start with something like this. This is a very famous architect. It's Gary. And Trimble bought some software and resources from Gary Technologies. And this is actually a sketch of this museum in Paris. Can you imagine that you have to build this? It's really, really impossible. Without good tooling, I can imagine that we were not able to build this 50 years ago. But what happened is that they started with a design model, just to see if everything fitted together. And from that design model, from this you cannot build, from that design model, we created a constructible model. We call that a constructible model at Trimble. And Tekla Structures was used to get this done, this job done. Here you see the evolution from the design to the constructible model. On the left, you see the design intent, and then the intermediate work in progress, and the final design for construction. It's all interactively working together with specialized subcontractors, and in the end, you will end up with a model exactly how it's built later. And every now and then we need a structural analysis as well. So during the whole design process, we are able to move that analysis, the results from the analysis, into the BIM and vice versa. But we need estimating, we need planning. Of course, this building was actually built as we speak. And we see a project collaboration as well. What we thought in Holland, I think 10 years ago, was that we should all work together in one model, in one BIM model. But that's really not the case. It's not working. We need aspect models. And those aspect models are models from the engineer, from the architect, from the MEP designer, and the owner can have all those different models, aggregate that information, and use it for facility management, asset management later on. Of course, we need project management, we need a dashboard. In that dashboard, we can see how the project is evolving, if we are on schedule, if the products are all there, if the manufacturer is up to date. We have change tracking, quality control, punch lists. So this helps us in getting the things done that are actually needed. I assume that most of you, if you are in the construction industry, and as a builder, you use an ERP system as well. And an ERP system is always good to have for financial issues. But in a BIM, you have always the actual status. And with an ERP, you always are 1 or 2 or 3 months late. So you cannot interact or you cannot act based on your results from your ERP. And it's a constant loop. So when you have your model, you go to the estimation, you have your budget, and then the budget is too high, so you need to remodel. And all those feedback loops for the modeling, but for the planning and control, and for the reporting as well, you can use BIM in that circle, in that loop. What you see moving here is data, is big data. Data is important, just as important asset as our personal is, as the people are in the construction industry. But data is moving on various axes. It's moving fast. We have social networks coming up. Who's using Facebook or any? No one? Okay, yeah, 5, 6. Okay, well, you need to improve a little bit, 7. Why not build like we do Facebook? You know, interact with each other in a fancy way, in a way that everybody understands, that at least the young people. Who of you is under 30? That's good. That's the future. And are you all using Facebook? Yes? No? Okay, cool. Yes, it was yes. And of course it's not Facebook, it's Twitter or whatever, but we like to do business on a different way. And what we see as well is that we are now on a third wave of automation. We started automation in the office. We started using Excel, we started using CAD, AutoCAD. And then we started to work together with our co-workers, with the project team in value chain automation, we call that. But now we have smart connected products. So the products will be smarter than we are. On a certain moment, the products know better what we need than ourselves. In fact, what I've heard, and is that there are sensors which can decide if you make a good decision during a meeting. And it's just they compare facial expression, blood pressure, temperature in the room, and when that all those experts, all those different aspects are on a certain level, you can make a good decision. So we will go to the smart connected products, at least in the construction industry. But what about all the other things that I didn't mention, like change orders, material, equipment? There are a couple of questions. What, where, when, and why? Why are we doing the things that we are doing? Well, there are different solutions. What we see, what I've experienced, is that people are working now with performance-based design. So we know in an early phase, during the design stage, what the carbon footprint is of a building, how much ventilation we need, what the heating load will be, and how much cooling load that is necessary. You know, those kind of things. We call that performance-based design. It's based on real-time figures. And for the engineering as well, it's improving there. We have vertical and horizontal alignment. We have roads, bridges, infrastructure and building, the DBO continuum called at Trimble, is moving together. So we are really seeing they come together. We need digital terrain modeling. This is an amazing technology. I saw that 4 years ago. Drones actually flying and measuring the landscape, creating a digital terrain model. Beautiful. It's beautiful technology, which you can of course, use as a starting point for your construction. But then again, we need to build it. And a BIM can look very easy, but it can contain a lot of information. Like you see here, you see all the rebarring in, and you see the steel structure of the Daytona circuit in the US. And that's a big oval where they drive over 300 kilometers an hour for hours. And the nice thing is that they built this new tribune, and it was constructed when it was still operating. So there were actually races going on when they were building. And you can only do that with a good planning and with a good structural model. But if you don't have a model and you only have a PDF, like you see in the left hand, then you can still use BIM. You can add data to a PDF, to a 2D drawing. You can do that with Vico software. And sometimes, like you see now, you need to have quantities of something that you didn't draw. How big is that facade? And you didn't actually put something in there, but you can still measure it, and you can use that data in your BIM for planning, cost planning, and for estimation. Lean planning, that is something like BIM. Lean planning is very, very, very popular now nowadays in the Benelux, in Holland, but we see it all over the globe. We have sticky notes, and with that sticky notes, people are committing themselves to do a job in a certain time level. And it's very good, but we need a system to support those sticky notes. So what you see here on the left is John. He's the project manager, and he has a building to construct. And he's using a Gantt bar, a Gantt schedule. So we have some people, to do the job. He's creating all kinds of schedule for those people, and here you see all the different locations. So the people go in, they walk across each other, they sometimes meet and they bump into each other, and it's not finished, so they move on to another area, and John is a little bit frustrated with it. This is how it works. But how do you optimize that? You optimize that via flow line planning. So John, he's going back to his office. He throws away all the schedules he created, came up with an idea. What if we create a planning by location? It's called location-based scheduling. What you see here on your left are all the locations, and the lines are the tasks. Sorry. And now you see that you can optimize those tasks so they won't interfere with each other, and you can optimize them. And if you optimize them by putting more people in, difference in crew sites, you can optimize them, outline them, and then when John is going back to his next project, he will have a more disciplined crew. Everybody is working in a good order. And of course, this is in theory, but it's working in practice as well. And Ilko will continue with this theory this afternoon. So with location-based scheduling, we have a clearer project overview, a good optimized workflow, and a faster execution. You have more control over your project. But what about what I just explained to you, all those items that we cannot achieve at this moment. With a BIM, we have the opportunity to have punch lists, to have RFIs, requests for information, all together in the system. So you have information exchange and notifications in a context, which is very important. What we can measure as well in that BIM is the labor. How many people do we have on site? In which moment? We just saw the planning. John was making that planning. But how many people are actually there? Well, we have RFID scanners. And sometimes you have a tag with an RFID. Some people know this guy. With that RFID tag, we know which people are on site. And sometimes you need it for legal reasons as well. We can track and trace the material which is coming. So it leaves the factory with a barcode or an RFID tag. We know exactly by coloring in the BIM model which items are manufactured and delivered and placed and checked. You can do that all by coloring, and then you can see if you're on schedule or if you are too slow or too low. Of course, the layout and scanning, we see that here in the room next door where we have the breakout sessions. There are scanners and robotic total stations as well. I want to tell you something about what we learned in Holland. This is the essence of BIM. In a traditional process, we move information to another party. And every time we move information to another party, we are losing some really important info. With BIM, we are trying to extend the information or add or contribute to the information that the others deliver to us. And that's the benefit, that's the plus of the BIM. But BIM is really a demand-driven process. What we see now, or what we've seen often, is that image. Everybody's doing, their thing, and just they are throwing information to the other, and be happy with it. But what I think is that you need to define what you need to get from the other, instead of giving the other everything that you have. So there is a need for an IDM, that's an information delivery manual. And what is that information delivery manual? And when do you need it? You need it when you move information. When you pass information to someone else, you need to have, as a demanding party, you need to have a set of rules where you describe what you need. And in Holland we have a company called Ievads, and in English they call themselves the National Organization Promoting the Interest of Practically Every Social Housing Organization in the Netherlands. So they need lots of words, but you understand what I'm saying. And we have the Central Government Real Estate Agency, Rijksvastgoedbedrijf, RVB, and Schiphol Airport, who recently came up with their own IDM, with their own information delivery manual. Sorry, this question. Do you know what LODs are? Who doesn't know what an LOD is? Okay, so everybody knows. I will skip 3 slides then. We thought about LODs in the industry delivery manuals. How? Well, if you see a main supporting structure, this steel column. What we see in an LED 200 is that we do not have the same information as is an LED 300. So we don't have the openings. We don't have the fire rating as an attribute. So in every step we make in the process, in every IDM, we describe what we need. And then 12 contractors in Holland, they joined forces almost half a year ago because the data they received from the architects was not structured. Architects just did something and the MAP designers just did something. So the data was not structured. So they come up with their own industry delivery manual. And they're going to share it. They are going to share it. We, as Building Smart, we did a supervision. And there's a need to speak the same language and eliminate wasteful tasks. So what they did was they looked at what they could achieve, and they decided not to go for something new, but to go for IFC. And Christopher Groom will go into IFC as a next speaker. But what was really important is that we all use the same origin. The origin point of every model, of every aspect model, need to be the same. We need to have a good structure of naming files, but as well building stories. So how do you name the stories? And where are the stories? What's the height of them? Which classification system are we using? Correct use of entities was important as well. What we saw is that architects loved to draw floors with a column command. So they had the BIM software, and they press column, and they stretched the column into a floor. And then for the architect, it was a floor. But for the construction industry, it was still, not a column, a beam. So it was still that beam instead of a column. And they went over several other very common things. The property sets, is it load bearing? What's the fire rating? So what they decided is not to invent the wheel again. They just used it. And they organized what was there. And I think this was a major step in the Dutch building industry. There was a research project as well from one of the biggest banks in Holland. It's the ABN AMRO Bank. And they did a research in larger construction companies. 1,241 companies. And as you can see, if you look to the left column, you see 20 to 49 people working in the construction company. Only 5% consider themselves as an expert, 6% mediate, and the rest had no clue what to do with BIM. So there were really chances, and those chances, the researchers asked the construction companies, what do you think will be the most useful benefit of BIM? Most of the people think it's generate 2D drawings from 3D, but that's only the first step. Linking with the planning and linking with the cost, 4D and 5D, wasn't wasn't on the tip of their tongue. But in the end, what we found out is that that is really helping them now in doing the job better. They want to be certain about the quality, the time, and the cost. They want to inform the customers better. I think that's really important. More affordable, more secure, as we all know that the building industry isn't making lots of money, so you can change that with BIM as well. And why are they successful at this moment? Because they chose a way that suit themselves. They did it step by step, and they did it learning by doing. If you wait until BIM is ready, you can wait for another 20 years. You just have to start with it. I think that is the real big issue here. And the bank said that you are more likely to get money from them to finance your construction if you use BIM. And yesterday, Mick van Leeuwen told me that an insurance company in the UK offered 30% discount on the insurance money you paid if you use BIM. 30%, that's a lot. I've got lots of examples. I brought lots of examples from the Dutch industry, nice BIM examples. Like I told you, this looks very easy, but in fact it's not. It's created very, very detailed, and it's produced directly from the BIM. So this company creates precast concrete, and they do all the rebarring and all the automation process in the factory, and you are absolutely we are more than happy to invite you. We are happy to have you in Holland if you want to take a look how they are doing it. We can organize it for you. We do it all the time. I sometimes explain to people that you need those aspect models and don't deliver everything that you can create with a BIM. Of course, if you use BIM to create molds to produce that precast, you don't need to deliver that to the owner of the building. Like I told you, this is directly from the BIM manufactured. And what they use as well, they use lasers and robotic total stations to in the field to position them and to construct it. And still we are using these kind of drawings, 2D drawings, and it's absolutely a huge step we made. I brought some nice examples from you as well, from Antwerpen in Belgium, a completely designed bridge with BIM, manufactured automatically as well. This is a campus, a sports campus. I think these kind of buildings cannot be done anymore without BIM. This is the same company that I mentioned before, Hearst Delphi, and they produce the precast concrete for this project in London. And they produce it in Holland, in Eindhoven, and they ship it to London City, and they just put it together like Meccano, and it's working very good. You see even the bricks work are modeled in the BIM, the little bricks, and they are glued onto the concrete in the factory, and then it's shipped to the UK. We see these kind of things as well. Just a BIM model to help you figuring out how to do your job. Understand how the rebar is laid out. And we see this happening as well. We see a welder with a big screen where the BIM model is. So he doesn't need any drawings anymore. Or like this. This is built. This is a company from the US. And you see the rebarring have a color in the BIM model, and they even paint the rebars in the construction site in the same color, so the people can only pick the correct rebars. We have lots of it's only 4 minutes, 5 minutes left. I thought I wasn't telling enough, but there's lots of fragmented data. And what we see now is that we can export from one to another. But in the end, we will still have a problem when we have alternatives or changes. So we need, therefore, an integrated workflow, that we have a design, and from the design, we go to the quantities, we do a quantity takeoff. From that quantity takeoff, we do the estimation, and from that estimation, we do the schedule. And Ilko will go that after the break this afternoon. And then we have 2D, 3D, 5D, and 4D. 5D comes before 4D. What we see as well is that we have many formats and many stakeholders and disciplines. So we need a very good ecosystem for collaboration. And that ecosystem needs to run on desktop, web, and mobile. But you need to be certain that you choose the collaboration system where you can have that complex model on the left as well, that it still can perform right. And then we see this transformation from the old-fashioned paper-driven industry to the digitalization. And even two big players in the market, Autodesk and Trimble, they acknowledged that they should work together. Even they are the biggest competitors, they should now work together, and they sent out a press release 2 months ago. And if it's not enough, you can always have the HoloLens. And the HoloLens will be demonstrated as well. What is a HoloLens? A HoloLens, if you haven't seen it, go there, put it on yourself, find it out. It's a wearable computer, and it has a holographic display where you can see augmented reality. So you can be in your office, and in your office, you see the full-scale model, and you can interact with it. Now you see the column there in the door opening. But you can put it on table as well. You can put your model on the table, and with some HoloLenses, you can walk around and really get a deep look in the system. But you can put it on any scale. You can put it on your computer. You can put it on the HoloLens. But you can, and it sticks there. And the nice thing is that if you move things, it will remember it when you put it on again. But you can play around with it yourself. You can even have remote collaboration. So if someone else has a HoloLens as well, but is in a different place, you can still look at the same model and interact with each other. It's almost Star Trek. And so you can do it in your office, but you can do it on site as well. So what I want you to take home is work in steps towards the dot on the horizon. That is very important. So find yourself a dot and go there. Specify what you need. So go for an industry delivery manual. And for me, BIM is a matter of perspective. And why? Well, I was in a museum 3 weeks ago, and I saw this. This was a volcano. It was an island with a volcano, and they have all those lava stones. And these were not hand-shaped stones, but it was shaped stones. So they put it there, and this was the biggest stone. And I stood there, and I thought, well, this is a big stone. What if you are that small stone in the end? And you want to be this big stone. You think, I can never make it. But if you look from the other side, all the stones are the same size. So if you think about that for yourself, and you make those steps. But the steps look the same, but are bigger and bigger and bigger. Thank you very much.
So, do we have questions? Thank you. It's a very typical situation in Latvia. I mean,
Yeah? Well, I'm here the whole day.
I have a question. To me, this BIM type of design thing, it looks very detailed and looks very time-consuming to, do all the 3D modeling and things like that. So we probably lose some time in the design, and then we win some time when we do construction. Is that correct, or it's a very simplified approach? Is it working? Yeah, it's.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, it's not working. Yeah, it's working. Yeah. Well, I think you're right. I think you will lose some time, but in the end, you will win it. And you need to invest something to get money out of it or to get results. So remember, garbage in is garbage out. So if you put crappy designs in, and not crappy in a way of architectural speaking, but in a way of structured information, then you cannot deliver. So you really need to put effort in the beginning.
Right. So let's not work in the way like garbage in is garbage out. No. That's like a phrase of the day, I think. Thank you. Thank you. So let's give a big hand to Rob for this. And